She's an amazing woman, very dynamic. I'm Anna Smiles, chair of the Habersham History Talks. It's a dynamic group of men and women, about 40 of us now, and the only requirement is that you have to love history. So, a heartfelt thank you first to Reverend Jamie Sosnowski and the Parish Church in Habersham for letting us host it here at this beautiful church. And I just want to say thank you to all of the members and to Dr. Sosnowski. So if you could give a round of applause. And a big thank you to the members of the Habersham History Talks group. It really takes a village, and someone said the other day, no, Anna, it takes a vineyard. There is so much and so many people that have to be involved to make this happen. Will all the members of the History Talks please stand so you can be recognized? Come on, man. Thank you. Great group. So if you're interested in joining this fun group of dynamic folks, please see me or any of the members after the event. And just a few housekeeping comments. Please turn off your cell phone. The event will be recorded for all of our Habersham residents, and the link will be sent out so you can hear the recording at another time. This is a new thing. We're going to hold all questions till the end of the presentation. And Dr. Gibbs has been kind and gracious enough to wait until after the event. So if you have a question that you would like to ask of her, she will be up front to hopefully answer. And the presentation will promptly end at 6:30 p.m. tonight. Now may I introduce our History Talks member, Barbara Foy. She and her husband, Mike, have been in Habersham for 12 years and moved from St. Louis. Not only has she been the social chairman in Habersham, which is a hefty task, for over 3 years, she has always been involved and very enthusiastic for the Habersham community. So I'd like to turn it over now to Barbara Foy. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, Amos. Hi, everybody. My glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. It is really my honor to be able to introduce our guest speaker tonight, Dr. Marie Gibbs, a native of St. Helena Island. Dr. Gibbs grew up surrounded and supported by her family and deeply rooted in the Gullah Geechee culture. And as testimony to her family ties, we have her sister here as a special guest, Dr. Carolyn Banner. I've always wanted a sister. After graduating from Voorhees College in Denmark, South Carolina, Dr. Gibbs moved back to St. Helena Island and began her career as an elementary school teacher. While working and raising her family, she continued on to earn both her master's and her doctorate degrees in education. So you can understand that she has, over the course of her life, really dedicated her life to the cause of education. And she's poured herself into the community as a teacher, as a program creator, as a community advocate, and also, I'm sure, as a role model to many, many people. In her words, she has tried to be a steward of heritage and a guardian of memory. She's served in many capacities in our area, and some of them are as the chair of the Penn Heritage Committee from 2018 to 2024. She's been a docent at the York W. Bailey Museum that houses the Penn School Collection. She's been a presenter at the Pat Conway Literary Center. And she's serving currently on the board of the Beaufort History Foundation and is actually the chair of their education committee. She recently won the Jane Moreau Award given by the Coastal Conservation League for her work to support the cultural the Cultural Protection Overlay Zoning District. You may have heard about that. The intent of that zoning document is to protect the integrity of St. Helena Island. And then she's also been a lifelong member of the Ebenezer Baptist Church. But maybe one of her proudest recent moments has been to celebrate her 50th wedding anniversary with her husband, Stanley William Gibbs, who's here to join us as well. That's a wonderful accomplishment. They are the proud parents of 2 sons and 2 granddaughters. So please help me welcome our speaker, Dr. Marie Gibbs.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I didn't know you were talking about me. I guess I did all. You do so many things over the years. You don't know things are happening. You don't know that you're doing these things. I'm so grateful that I was able to do that. We're going to start today. We'll get our slides first. Let's move some back. All right. What you're looking at now is the title. And you see this picture right here? I went out and had lunch with this beautiful lady over here. As we sat in the restaurant, that same picture was shown. I said, what a coincidence. It was meant to be. So today I'm going to talk about the connection with Penn Center and the Gullah Geechee People. So that's what my topic is today. Next slide. As you see this slide right here, this is Penn Center. How many have been to Penn Center before? Many of you have. So I got to be on my P's and Q's today. Because I have fact checkers in the room today. So this campus you're seeing now, this is the site of the first school in the South for newly emancipated people. It started in 1862, and this campus, like I heard here, sits on 50 acres of land. Next slide. And how it all began. We call it the big gun shoot. Bam! The gun went off. All the slave owners on St. Helens Island left. We call it the Great Skedaddle. And in doing so, they abandoned over 10,000 enslaved people on the island to fend for themselves. And guess what? Help came. Next slide. Freedom came. We're free. Well, what do you want to do? Nothing to do. You can't read. You can't write. So what are you going to do? Help arrive. 2 teachers came. The first one was Laura Tam. She was an abolitionist, educator, and she was a Quaker. She spent her entire life educating the people on St. Helens Island. Then after Laura came, Ellen came too. She was an abolitionist, but she was also a Unitarian. Ellen died in service. Matter of fact, they both died in service. Ellen is buried at the Churchwood Church, and Laura body went back home to Philadelphia to be buried. So we owe these ladies a lot. And then, I'm not done yet. A third teacher came. Next slide. Charlotte Fulton. The first black educator on this island. Charlotte risked her life coming to this island. She was free, but if she was caught, she would easily be put back in slavery. She was a poet. If you have a chance, she has a book, The Charlotte Fulton Story. A wonderful reading about Charlotte Fulton. And she taught night school, and she worked with the young children. So night school started back in 1862, not recently. The first official schoolhouse. But we didn't have a school, because it was against the law for kids to read. This was a private school. In order to go to this school, you had to pay tuition. I think it was $3 to $4 per child. And the students stayed on campus. And this was right, the first building right there. That was the school right there. And other students who came to that school, they came by boats to get an education. And because this was the only school where students could earn a high school diploma. What happened after slavery, they sent over the Roosevelt buildings. They placed them everywhere on the island. Where we lived, there was one. But that school did not give you a high school diploma. All you could receive was a 6th grade education. And many people could not do that because our parents, they only went to 3rd grade, but made sure that we were educated. Everything they said, no matter what you do, go to school. I thought my name was go to school. You got 1 degree, go to school. Yeah, so that's why I'm a PhD, because I got tired of hearing go to school. Next slide. Because that's how kids got to school. Travel by boat. The thirst for knowledge was so great, they traveled by boat. And the reason why? There wasn't a bridge. We didn't get a bridge, connecting bridge from St. Helena from Beaufort until 1927. And what I was told, what the people living on the island did, they had those bateaus. They would take the goods across the bridge, and they would sell the goods on the waterfront. You saw that space in front of the bridge? That's where the boat docked and sold their goods from the island. But imagine living on the island without a bridge. We were so isolated, but guess what? We became self-sufficient, self-reliant people due to the isolation. So living on the island, people might think, how do you do? We did well. We did well. Just imagine not having to really look for food. We were farmers. This hand right here, I've done it all. My sister can account for that. We would pick tomato, cucumber, broccoli, bring in tomatoes, cucumber, watermelon, everything. My dad didn't recognize boys from girls. He didn't have girls doing a boys' chores. We all did everything at home. You know, family was so important to us living on this island. So move on now, traveling. Next, now, we talk about Penn and the Gullah Geechee People. They go hand in hand. But this school was built for the Gullah Geechee people on this island. And without this school, we wouldn't have Gullah Geechee people, or we wouldn't have the school. So it's a combination of things, because that's why this is so important to this island, having the school and the people working together for one goal, education and preserving our culture. Yes. Oh, guys, the school didn't really start as a regular school. It started as the Port Royal Experiment. Have you ever read about the Port Royal Experiment? Very good. That was an experiment to find out. These people were now freed, but could they transition into freedom? Could they work the land? Could they make wages? Could they make a living and take care of their families? Living proof. Living proof. We made it because of the education and family. Without family to us is powerful. They instilled in us without you need family. I remember my mother was sick and she was going in transition. The last thing she said, take care of one another. And that's what we do today. We take care of one another. And that's how you survive. And at the Penn School, doing the Port Royal Experiment, the students were not taught traditional things. They had the reading, writing, and arithmetic. They also had skills. things. They learned to make sweet baskets, harness, mechanics, masonry, and they had a compost shop too. But you need something to fall back on. Even though you had academics, you still need something to fall back on. So they learned things, and they had their own store shops, set up things, because when we were growing up, we didn't cross that bridge. Everything we needed was here. Because if anyone knew about the Gullah people, we can go, things were separated back then. We can put our feet in shoes. When my dad wanted to buy his shoes, he had to measure our feet with a string and take it to the store. Because we couldn't buy shoes like that. So we probably kept shoes for a long time. We were trying to stuff it up and not even thinking what they had to go through to get this shoe for us. But this, and out of our school, guys, believe it or not, came one of our very own. This is our very own Dr. York W. Bailey. What we do on this island, guys, we grow our own. If you don't, who will? He practiced medicine on the island for over 50 years. He attended Penn School, came back home, and gave back to his community. And this lady sitting over here, Miss Gardenia White, she's a registered nurse. She attended Penn School. She always often tells me the story. When she graduated from Penn School, when she went to Hunter's College, she needed to take any remedial courses. She was ready. She got right into the classes and started her work. She said she didn't sit in the back of the class. She sat to the front. That's what they told us, her to do. You go there, just do that. And she made it, she came back home and started working as a registered nurse, coming right from Penn School. So there's nothing you cannot do, no matter where you come from. Just put it forward and do it. And that's what we did all our lives. Someone said no, we said yes. There's always a way around getting things done. That's our doctor did. And he lived to the good right age of 90. 90 years old. All right, next slide. And land on the ship. Guys, living on the island, land ownership is so important to us. Because when the slave owners left, and we were left here, we were able to buy land. But it came at a cost. People had to pick 400 pounds of cotton. I was paid $1 to buy land. Families were able to buy at least 40 acres of land. And with the land they did bought, they raised families, raised their crops, and made money to send their kids to school. Because we were growing up, but today we live about 40 acres of land ourselves. When my dad, I just love my father. What he would do with us, he would teach us different lifelong skills through our farm work. We learned mathematics in the field. We learn responsibility in the fields. We learn integrity in the fields. Responsibility, when at the end of picking season, my dad would give us the field to scrap, get the leftover crops. He would take it to markets for us, and if he would bring our money back, he would say, "Where's my gas money?" That's responsibility. Integrity. I remember one day, we worked all day in the fields. The price dropped, but the bottom fell out. My dad looked at that man and said, "Before I give you my tomatoes, I will give it to my hogs." Guess what he did? He gave it to his hogs. We need the money, but he taught us integrity. And the fruits of your labor. After picking season, he'll put all our monies on the table for us to count. But we know you counted already. He wanted us to see what we did and the money we raised. That was the fruit of our labor. As a family, after the season, we had a goal. What are we going to do? We would add a room onto the house or put new flooring in. And the first day of school, I can remember, we would sit down at the table. How much is your book? At that time, we had to pay for our schools, to pay the rent. So we would give Daddy all our slips. He would give us our book money to go to school and pay for our books. So, and today, see, we didn't have tenant, there was no tenant farmers on St. Helena. We didn't have tenant farmers. People own their land on the island. And that's why today we fight so hard to keep it. And that's yesterday, and that's today. Next slide. All right. This slide here, we often hear about Gullah Geechee. What is the difference between Gullah and Geechee? None. But the Geechee and Gullah, that is our custom, tradition. We combine all that in those words. Everybody thinks your language is more than your language. There are two words up there. One is binya and kamya. I know none of you are binyas. But there's only 3 binyas in here. I'm a binya. Are you a binya? Are you a binya? Are you a binya? Me? Who's a binya? You a binya too? How long you been here? So you a binya girl. You a binya girl. Binya means you've been living here all the time. So we are binyas and kamyas. In our language, if I'm going to say something in my language to you in the Gullah language, where you come from? Where you been at? I know you understood what I said. We should dress up a little bit. It was a little more different back then. I should dress it up. So that is how, and you see this picture right here. That's how the people came to America. And on that ship, the transatlantic journey from Africa to America took 3 months. I went to the museum in Charleston. I was reading on display 372,000 people started that journey. Only 72,000 people made it. Look at myself. I said, thank you. I'm here, or we are here, because somebody made it. And I can imagine how it was back then. But we're here. Move on. If you heard, the Gullah Geechee corridor extends from the top of Wilmington, North Carolina. It goes all the way down to the tip of Jacksonville, Florida. All those slots right there, those ports, slaves were put off the ship in those ports. So, go ahead. Something fantastic happened at Penn Center, guys. Dr. King came there 3 or 4 times. That famous March on Washington speech, I have a dream, was right there. And one of our guests, or one of the architect or contractor, found that speech up in the attic in Gallup Hall. He returned it to the family. Dr. King's been there several times, along with Jesse Jackson, John Lewis. He's been there several times, and we're thankful for that. And that's just Slice-Law. He was the first to erect the Penn Center right there. So we are very grateful that he came to Penn Center and drafted March on Washington. It made our lives better when he did the civil rights movement and it went through. We got a lot of work to do, but he's still working on it. Next one, Dad. While at Penn Center, this is Ghent Cottage. This is where Dr. King stayed while I was here. This is an old picture right here, but since then they've done some renovation on this house. This is where he stayed and where he slept. And just imagine when you walk that campus, You just walk in the same grounds that you want. Okay? And these are things we do to keep the legacy and tradition going. The Gullah Geechee community, we sing, we do stories. Everything we do is rhythm, movement, and singing. We do all that to get their attention. And street grass making, that's one of our things we do. And they will never tell you how to do it. They will never give you their secret. Street grass basket making, captain making, they won't tell you how it's done. Because that's how they make their money. And, yeah. Then we have famous Heritage Days. This one is called the Great Homecoming. People in the island, they arrange their vacation according to the schedule of Heritage Days. It's time you see everybody you know. They'll come to you, you're so-and-so, but you don't know their name. You say, okay, I know you. I know you. Okay? Next thing we do, next slide. This community sing, we still do that. What we do here, we sing the old time songs from way back then, like keeping the legacy going. And I think Mr. Dina was there when she started that. And we every month we take a different church. Get the churches involved in that. Every month they come down and they do a set different songs every month. That little girl right there, I taught her in 3rd grade. Shona, my 3rd grade student. That was way back then. And most of you that were teachers at the school. I didn't tell you when Penn closed in 1948. All the teachers there went to our new school, St. Helena, with the same skills, same curriculum, and kids had to learn. And one thing Mr. Dina always told me, and she learned in school, never compromise your integrity. And I heard someone say, to Mr. Dina, she's very articulate. Mr. Dina went to Penn, but they didn't teach her. They didn't do well at all. They couldn't speak Gullah. They had to be articulate, enunciate words, because they were going out in a big word. Because at Penn, you know what they had? They had a finishing class. If you were graduating from high school, you had to learn how to walk in heels, learn how to fix your hair, right? Learn how to buy some nice clothes and get all dressed up. Because you're going on the world and representing Penn State. You have to be ready. So that's what they did there. They taught the ladies how to carry themselves with class and dignity. And while they were there, the ladies would fix the food, all the cleaning, while the boys would take the shop and everything else. The girls would do cooking and the cleaning, and they made quilts. They did everything, but they practiced male chauvinist back then too. There's nothing new. So, Praise House. How many of you ever heard about Praise House? Oh, good. How many of you did ever go into a Praise House? You did. All right. I grew up in Praise House. We grew up in Praise House. We had to go to Praise House every Sunday evening. We had to go. Papa was the deacon on the ward who ran the Praise House. What happens at the Praise House? We learn our Our Father prayer without reading it. We learn to recite verses of the Bible. We sang. We got on our knees on a cold, hard floor, and we prayed. And we learned the golden rules. So it was an extension of school. But I'm thinking now, it was a way to keep us out of the street. Because you will go there, you will stay until it becomes dark. Then you go back home at that time. But I appreciate all that. I appreciate all that was done during that time. Because it made you a better person. And then when you work hard, you know what? The little things you do now makes no difference. It's easy. Go back home, Kat. Go back there. Right now on this island, I think we have like 2 praise houses left on the island. And guests come to these praise houses every day to learn about what happens there. And when we grew up, a praise house was across the street from us, and we could walk there anytime we wanted to. And that was what we did. Religion was first and foremost. Next. Casting. And I'm looking at this picture. I thought it was my dad on that boat, but it wasn't him. This is how we got our seafood. They didn't have big boats now. This is how they rowed the boats. This is the bateau. They will go out. They will cast. The guy there, he's carrying the boat. It's called carrying the boat. And that guy is casting for shrimp. No, many of y'all cast the bank. They cast handmade net. It takes about 3 to 4 months to make a net. So that's how they made some money too, on making these nets. And how many of you remember to see the bullets on the end of the bullets? The little black weight on the nets. Well, my dad made his own nets. He heated up lead in a lead pot. You guys are city people, you know what I'm talking about. He heated the lead in a lead pot, and he would put holes in the ground. And he would pour I was pouring the lead in the ground. He would say, girl, be careful with that thing's hot. I'll take my time. I'll pour it in every hole. How do you make a hole in it? You take a nail and put it through the hot layer. When it melts, you can pull it out. Then you have a ball, a way for your net. Everything they did was made. From the boats, made. We had Sam Mutry, our boat maker. So almost everyone is I couldn't make a boat, but Sam Mutry was the inspector. He would come around and see if your boat could go in the water without sinking. So he was a boat inspector. Next. Now we have, this is the museum on Penn Center. This is where we keep our intellectual history. If you ever go to this museum here, you'll see artifacts, you'll see beautiful pictures. I don't know who took those pictures. They're well preserved and beautiful pictures and artifacts from every time. Because when we grew up in the island, all our resources was here. In the museum, there's a grits mill. Who knows what a grits mill is? Oh, you good, okay. We have a grits mill there. And anybody ever worked at grits mill, went there, not ever seen it in action? I said, we don't have a lot of experience here. Y'all not really city people. Right? A grits mill, we had to shell our corn. It took weeks and weeks to get all of that corn in tubs. And on Saturday was meal day. We used to take that grits, the corn to the mill. They were poured in that machine. And now the first batch, they made corn grits. And I should know, because I was a grits catcher. And the next thing they did was cornmeal. She caught the cornmeal. I fooled her. You know what a cornmeal did? Be all floury, be all white and dusty. So she caught the cornmeal. I get the corn, the grits. And we also made our own sugar cane. Anybody know who made it? The donkeys will go round in a circle. We put that cane in there. There was 3 little juice out of that cane. And we got home, well, we had a treat. Anybody know what fried bread is? Cornmeal mixed together with syrup. So we had a treat, and corn syrup, not the maple syrup y'all used to. The good old syrup. The sweet one. All right, next. All right, on Penn campus is also a reconstruction site. It became a reconstruction site in 2017. And on this campus we have Brick Church, which was built in 1855 by the slaves living on the island. If you get a chance to visit that church, if you walk around, you'll see tiny handprints on that brick. It's some little kids was putting that brick together. That's the oldest building on campus. And the next is Darrell Hall. That used to be the gymnasium, the auditorium, where plays were done, and we played basketball in Darrell Hall. Like I said, we had all our amenities on the island. It might not be like Habersham, but that was our Habersham. We had a lot of fun growing up on the island. And I remember one day we went to Darrell Hall, and we had a pickup game, basketball. We both played basketball in high school. We were very athletic, basketball, band, all that stuff, we did all that. And we had a pickup game, we used to walk. We used to walk from everywhere. From band practice, basketball practice, everything walking. So we didn't have any transportation, and my parents were working, so we could take us back and forth to different things. Then during that time, because where we lived, called Ann Brick, the girls, believe it or not, guys, we were starting 5. All of us were starting 5 where I lived. So we were walking together, going back and forth to basketball practice in the afternoon. Next. These beautiful buildings you see, these are our Airbnbs. This one here is called, this is Hampton House right there at the bottom, Pine Grove, and this is Benazet. These are 3 buildings that listed for rental when you want to do family vacation. We got a lot of school that comes here to stay, and on campus while they're there, they'll have the opportunity to stay in the houses and take in all the marine time, or indigo dyeing, and they go on boat rides. Everything we're trying to get them to understand the culture, trying to preserve and protect our culture. Because our goal is to protect and preserve the true history of Penn Center and the Seattle people. And that's why we do what we do. Because time has changed. The young people here now, I guess they seem to be entitled. They know where they came from, why they have what they have. So we have to let them know that what you have didn't come easy. I was in that race when we got things done, but they don't understand. So it's our job to enlighten them and keep our history alive. The Gullah people, like I said before, we're all about family, friends, having fun, and always getting together, doing things together. This is a safety place, safe zone for us. Without family, like I said, we have nothing. And you see in this picture right here, we have a lot of family reunions. Why do we have family reunions? To keep that history alive. And we tell stories. Matter of fact, I remember one story my grandfather told us. It was a poem he wrote about a storm. There was a storm August 27th, 1827 or 1927. That was the worst storm that ever came on St. Helena's Island. 2,000 lives were lost. And my grandfather, I think someone read this, he was the one who tied himself to a tree. That's how he saved his life. Then when he got up, he said, when he untied himself that morning, bodies were over everywhere. And what they did, they had to take the houses that were down and make makeshift casket for the people. But they had to rebuild. But think about that. No bridge. Who helped? I heard that Clara Barton came over. We gave a hand. But we had to do most of it by ourselves. But we didn't make a mistake the last time. What we did, we moved inland. But we all lived on the water. We liked that water, that sea, that oceanfront property. But we know it wasn't going to do us right, so we moved in. And that's when the scammers came on the island. They sort of fooled the people on their property. But I can understand them too. There was a time you had nothing. And what are you going to do? Your families have to take care of. So family comes first. So they sold that land to take care of their families. But you gotta do what you gotta do, and that's what they did. So, okay. Next. Food of Gullah people. Y'all said, boy, they use spicy food. No, we've cut them on the spices. We use turkey now. We use turkey a lot in our collard greens, guys. We don't use pork that much, but we use the turkey right now. We love our seafood. Any kind, from oysters, shrimp, crabs. Matter of fact, we are steaks people. Our McDonald's was taking a net and going out and catching some crabs or something. That was our McDonald's. And one day my sister went out. I'll tell you a story. Y'all go crab and shrimp and oyster. They wouldn't get shrimp. She fell down on an oyster shell and cut her leg. She didn't tell mom and dad. So she was hiding it from them. She ended up with a scar. But she didn't tell anybody to take stitches because she was too afraid to tell. But that's something they should not have done. They said, do not go near the water. They were hard-headed and they went. But I was good, I didn't do that. I listened very well. I didn't do that. But that's how we did our seafood. Then when berry season come, we would pick berries to make a blue blackberry dumpling and stuff like that. And guys, every season there was a reason to eat. From plums, peaches, pears, pomegranates, we had all that stuff growing up. That's when we were more healthy back then. And talk about going to the house for lunch. Lunch, what is that? You eat lunch. You go in the mulberry tree, sit there all day. You eat your mulberries, that's for lunch. We didn't have lunch inside. And we didn't go inside for a glass of water. No, we outside, water hoses. So we were self-sufficient people. We learned how to survive. See, I could cook. So I was in charge. If you don't do this, I'm not going to cook, you're not getting none. I wasn't the oldest, but I was the wisest. When you cook, you hold the cards. So I could cook. And then on this picture right here, there's a picture of Faith Spirit. The reason why I put that there, for our culture, faith is the utmost. My grandfather said, if you have a faith of a mustard seed, you'll make it. You'll make it. And I always remember things that he said. But they tell you that when the old people told you things, the words that live with you. And sometimes you think your parents are not here, but they're still here. Let me try and do something that I shouldn't do. My mother would say, Marie, you shouldn't do that. So I listened. I was a good girl. I was very good. I didn't get in trouble. Next. All right, we talk about this. We protect the culture, protect the history, and protect the land. And that's why no gates and no golf. We fought that forever. How many remember some of the meetings we had? Turn the next slide, Kel. That's in helping people in business. And this meeting here, guys, any of you had that meeting? This meeting here lasted until 2 a.m. in the morning. Yes. We all stayed till 2 a.m. in the morning. We're waiting on a verdict. Look at that. To help our people. One goal, one song, one band. And together we can make things happen. And we did. Right now, I'm talking about the CEO. I don't think he's dropped the case yet, but everything's been no, 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 but he keeps coming back. We're not going nowhere because we love our land. We love our life. People move to the island because of the serenity and the beauty. If you did that, why would you want to change it? So we are going to fight and we're not going nowhere. Put it that way. But the thing is, there's still not young people to keep it going. Guys are waiting for this generation to go away. But we have the little kids coming up with the same belief. Okay? Go ahead. And for us guys, the land is our body, and the water is our blood. We came here from our hometown. We lost a lot of blood in the water, and we came to the land. That's why we fight so hard to keep what we have today. I'm gonna fit, but I want to let Miss Virginia say something. So I'm gonna give some release of my time to Miss Virginia. I'm not gonna talk. Go to my last slide. I think I'm on my last slide here. Penn Center preserving the legacy for the next generation. And hope you enjoyed, and thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Dina said, Marie, why didn't you tell me what I was coming to Habersham and y'all getting all dressed up? I said, you're good. You're dressed up. And this lady right here, she's lived in history about Penn Center. She went to Penn School from grade 1st to 12th. So I'm going to maybe spend some of my time to her. You ready? You can talk now? She was talking all evening, so she lost her voice a little bit. She's telling me a little long-winded too, so I got to cut her off. Mike? Yeah, we can hold the mic. I got the mic for you.
Well, thank you all for coming. She shocked me. I didn't know I was coming here. But I'll just give you part of my life so that you can see what Penn Center have done for me, okay? All right. Marie covered a lot of stuff in her presentation. But I'm going to give you the real deal, exactly what happened. So first of all, I am in 91 and more than a half years. I'll be 92 in September 20th if I'm living that long. I still have my faculties. I'm not confused, but I have some health problem, but I don't let that get the best of me. Just to talk about what Marie said. I was born and raised here on St. Helena Island. We were raised, this is a real thing, my mother and father separated at a young age. I have 4 siblings, each 1 year apart. We had 3 sisters and 1 brother. And what can I say? So what happened, my brother was born in August. I was born in September. My other sister was born in December, I thought it was, and my brother was born right after me. So anyway, we went to Penn School. Independent was what taught us what Marie talked about. I don't want to go over everything that she did, but what she said, I actually lived it. And I just want to say that what happened, Penn taught us education. I went to Penn School from 1st through 12th grade. Penn had 3 different names. It was Penn School. Laureltown and Ellen Murray came to educate the newly enslaved people. Then it changed to Penn Normal, Industrial, and Agricultural School. We had white principals and black students. But we were taught to be respectful, get an education, and be all you can be. I'm just saying this so this is part of our history. When I graduated, I went from 1st to 12th grade. When I graduated, there were no opportunities for African American except working on the sharecroppers farm. So that's what we had to do. We didn't get an education for that. So there was the migration north. So most of our Penn School students went to this northern states. But Penn School taught us, I lived in New York for 14 years, but I never lost contact with what was going on here and where I was born and raised. I talked about my father and my stepmother separating, and my father raised us for 8 years without a mother. And that the community take care of their own. He would take us to Penn School, drop us off at a relative home. He worked on Paris Island. So we had funds, so we had money. We had as Marie said, we earned everything. But being that I'm 91 years old, fortunate, I never worked on a cotton field. Didn't know anything about that. Other people, we have 62 plantations here on St. Helena Island, and we had the one-room schoolhouses. So only got 6th grade education. You cannot do anything with a 6th grade education. So then Penn name changed from Penn Normal Industrial and Agricultural School to Penn High School. And in 1948, Penn School closed as a private school. And Marie talked about the Seiselovs. They were the first principal of Penn Center. And I just have to say something, since you asked me to talk about what part of my life was about. Because there were no opportunities here on St. Helena Island, everyone who graduated from Penn School went north. The Seiselovs, they were white, we were black. My sister and I, we worked for 25 cents with the Seiselov. Good people. And then when we graduated, then we had relatives in New York, and there was nothing here for us because we didn't get an education to just work on a sharecropper's farm. So going to New York, the Seiselov, it took them 3 days to take me to New York to live with my cousin. And they were wonderful people. We didn't know anything about segregation, they were respectful, and they had to find homes that were safe for white and black together. But anyway, I'll just move forward. I went to a 3-year nursing school, black, white, Irish, German, all of that. Didn't know anything about segregation, but we stayed in the nurses' residence and got along wonderful. Mixed generation. So we were taught going to Penn to be respectful, get an education, don't compromise your integrity, and this is what Penn taught us. So going to a nursing school, I worked as a registered nurse for 3 years, and everybody was going to school, getting these diplomas. So what happened? I worked nights for 15 years from 12 midnight to 8. So I could take care of my children and be home when they were there. And then when you had the younger generation, this is interesting, they will come. I worked at the VA. I'm a civil service employee. I worked in New York for 30 plus years. And lots of other things that I've done. But what happened, I've got to stop and think a little bit. I have my faculty, but I got short-term memory now. So after seeing everybody getting a promotion for higher wages, I took 1 subject per semester until I got my BSN diploma. And then after I graduated, in the VA hospital, for your performance and how you work, you get increase every year. You get proficiency. And I said, well, I'm going to go on further. Then I went on and got my master's degree in nursing administration. So this is what Penn taught us. I went to Hunter College, I struggled, and now I'm just 91 years old, worked at Penn Center. Oh, let me finish that. In 1992, I retired. I was not old enough, but I worked until I got, I think you had to work 50-some years, whatever, no, not 50, you had to work further for retirement. I have my retirement, I'm independent. I've worked at Penn Center from not in New York as well as here, because I never missed anything that happened at Penn School. Not only that, my father was here, so there are 4 of us. Each of us took a holiday, so my father had his children, whatever, Christmas, New Year, all of that. So we didn't encroach on the other, but it was, we all had children. So this is what we did. So I never lost touch with Penn Center. When I came, we had supported Penn Center, did everything, saw everything that was going on. And then, of course, when I retired, I said, well, I will go into volunteering. Volunteered at the York Daily Museum. It was one of the buildings on Penn Center. The other thing, after volunteering, they had no Emory Camp. That was when he retired. Ms. Faulkner and I, for 5 years, we worked as manager of Penn Center, York Daily Museum. That's from 92 to 97. I know 92 until 5 years for that. And then, when we had the pandemic, guys, when Mr. Wright came, another director, Mr. Wright came to Penn Center, and he hired Marie, Marie's after that, Ms. Faulkner and I, who ran Penn, the museum and the Welcome Center. A lot of changes went on there, so you could have Penn's history and more artifacts and all of that. So I volunteered at Penn from 92 until currently. But I had brain surgery, bleeding in my brain, blind in my eyes, but I'm still okay. I'm walking, I'm okay, and I don't want to, for the older people, you make a decision, do you want to DNR or whatever. They changed things here, so I wanted to, I said, well, let me go see my master, right? I had no choice. My son and my niece went and told them, do not do any DNR on me, right? But it was hard, but I said no, and then there was a pastor there. Somebody was holding my hand when I was being wheeled from the, going to the morgue. This is interesting. And when they wheeled me back, I didn't even open my eyes. And I said, well, thank you all for what y'all have done for me. So it's okay, I will still be here. And that was in last year. So even though I'm a little handicapped, I can cook, I'm in my right mind, and I will do anything for Penn Center, so that we can always have our history and our culture and teach it to our children. And the other thing, like I'm saying again, it doesn't matter. I would tell y'all that when in the museum, I said, when I do lectures, I said, well, I am black, I have nappy hair, and I have thick lips, but I'm proud of who I am. And I've always done that because, we all are Father's children, so there's no prejudice in my heart. I respect everybody. So I didn't say all this, but it's too much. But I'm glad, Marie. I'm so proud of you. I didn't even know I was coming here. I am so proud of you.
Y'all give her another round of applause. Now my sister want to say something. Everything I do, she want to do it.
That is not always true, but I just want to add that the people on St. Helena Island are resilient. And because of where I grew up and the experiences that I had, I'm not afraid of hard work. Life on St. Helena Island was not easy for kids. If you can imagine, every season, my sister spoke about there's something to eat, but there was always work to do. Springtime, we were out there preparing the ground for planting. The fall, sweet potatoes, there's always something going on. But if you can imagine, early in the morning before the dew dropped, during the dew, if you can imagine, a tomato field was from here to here, all the way back there. Rows and rows and rows. We were left to harvest that, all four of us. So as I got older, there is nothing that I could not challenge me, because I've been out in hot sun and had those challenges. The other thing that you don't realize that on that island, everything was limited. Access to health care, access to education. So we know how to make do. It allows those creative juices to flow, to make do with what you have, because that's all you have. Another thing you have to be aware of when you come on St. Helena Island, a lot of what was brought over from Africa is represented on the island. Every part of that island, there's a name. And where we grew up was called Anford. There's Nectarius, there's Scott, there's Capus, there's Eddie's Point. And within each community, it's made up of family. Where we grew up was the Macks, the Millers, the Archers. And it was such a close-knit group and on the island that we could tell where you were from by how you look. And one of the underscore things was, don't marry anybody from St. Helena Island if you're from there, because you might be related. So we all stayed away from marrying anybody on that island. It was definitely an experience and a lifelong journey for me that I would never replace, because it made me who I am, and it made me value education. It made me appreciate what I had, and not looking for what I didn't have. So, in saying that, I'm so glad my sister had an opportunity to share that experience. She was the trailblazer for me, because she opened the doors, never let anybody behind. When she went to college, when it was my turn, she brought me along. We graduated from the same undergraduate college. So, and we're always in our own ways giving back to our community in however form or fashion we can. So I want to appreciate her for allowing me to say a few words, and appreciate you guys for opening your doors and willing to hear about these experiences. Thank you so much.
Again, guys, thank you for coming this afternoon and listening to my speakers. Not only me, I brought speakers with me. So to take our time, I brought them with me, and I'm so proud of my sister. My mother always said, everybody, when we were growing up, you guys are twins. No, we're not twins, but we're sisters. I remember when the guys were trying to talk to us, we would look at them and laugh, because my dad told us, if y'all ever get pregnant, we'll drag y'all behind our truck down the road. I wasn't going to be driving any road, so we really were protected. We did, like my sister said, we did our undergraduate together, and we earned our PhD together. So we've been on our journey all our lives, like that. And we think alike. We'll go shopping. We'll meet together with the same shoes in our hands. So that's what family do. And working, she did talk about working, we worked hard. But the fruits of our labor. Thank you.
Gibbs, thank you for sharing your knowledge of Penn Center, your family stories, your passion for the Gullah Geechee community with us. For your honored guests, we're so grateful you were here and shared with us. We've learned from you that the Penn Center is a vital link in our shared history by preserving the Gullah Geechee traditions, stories, and the resilience of the Gullah Geechee people. They safeguard this unique culture, and by doing that, the Low Country and future generations will benefit. So we are honored to learn from you, from your stories, from your knowledge, and we thank you for being here. And as a small token of our appreciation, we have a gift for you and our heartfelt thanks. I'd also like to thank all the Habersham residents for coming out to what was an amazing and informative and interesting presentation. Dr. Gibbs and her guests have graciously offered to stay afterwards so we can have a one-on-one with her. I mean, a one-on-one with a Penn School graduate. That's great. So thank you for coming. We hope to see you at the next History Talks in the fall sometime. And just a reminder that this presentation has been recorded and you can access it on the Habersham website. Thank you again for coming.